I moved into my first solo apartment last March in a quiet building on the east side of town. It was a decent place, affordable, close to work, and the landlord seemed normal enough during the walkthrough. The apartment directly above mine was supposedly empty, which I actually preferred. No footsteps, no late-night noise. Perfect. For the first 2 weeks, everything was fine. I'd come home from my shift at the grocery store, make dinner, watch TV, and pass out around midnight. Normal routine. But then I started noticing something weird. Every night around 2 a.m., I'd hear a single footstep directly above my bed. Not multiple footsteps like someone walking around, just one. A deliberate, heavy step that would wake me up every single time. It always came from the exact same spot right above where my head was on the pillow. I figured maybe the building was settling or something. Old buildings make weird noises, right? I tried to ignore it, but it kept happening. Every night, same time, same spot. I even moved my bed to the other side of the room to test if it was just a coincidence. The footstep moved with me. Now it was directly above my head in the new location. That's when I started getting uncomfortable. I mentioned it to my landlord, asked if someone had moved into the unit above me. He looked confused and said no, that apartment had been vacant for almost 6 months. He even offered to let me go up and check it myself. We went up together. The apartment was completely empty, no furniture, no belongings, nothing. Dust covered the floors. The landlord showed me that the door had been locked the entire time, and there was no sign anyone had been inside. I felt stupid for even bringing it up. But that night, it happened again. 2 a.m., one heavy footstep right above my head. I decided to record it. I set up my phone on my nightstand with a voice recording app running. When the footstep woke me up at 2 a.m., I checked the recording. There it was, a clear, distinct thud at exactly 2:03 a.m. But there was something else on the recording that I hadn't heard in the moment. Right after the footstep, there was breathing. Slow, deliberate breathing, like someone was standing completely still, just existing in that space above me. I barely slept the rest of that night. The next morning, I called the landlord again and demanded he check the apartment. He sounded annoyed but agreed. This time, he went up alone while I waited in my apartment. He called me 10 minutes later and told me to come up. When I got there, he was standing in the middle of the empty living room, looking at the floor. There, in the dust, was a single footprint. Just one. It was positioned directly above where my bed was. The dust around it was completely undisturbed, no other prints. No signs of anyone walking to or from that spot. Just one shoe print, like someone had materialized there, stepped down once, and vanished. The landlord went pale. He checked the door again, still locked from the outside, deadbolt engaged. The windows were painted shut and hadn't been opened in years. There was no way in or out. We stood there in silence, both trying to rationalize what we were seeing. I started staying at my friend's place after that, only going back to my apartment during the day to grab clothes. I told the landlord I wanted to break my lease. He didn't fight me on it. But before I moved out completely, I needed to get some important documents from my bedroom. It was around 7 p.m., still light outside. I went into my apartment, grabbed my files from the closet, and was heading for the door when I heard it. That same heavy footstep. But this time, it wasn't at 2 a.m. It was right now, and it was louder, more aggressive. Then another step, and another. Someone was walking around up there. I ran to my door. But before I could leave, I heard something that made my blood turn to ice. From directly above my head, I heard a voice. A man's voice. Barely a whisper, but clear enough. "Don't go." I didn't stop. I grabbed my keys and bolted out of that apartment. I called the police from my car. They searched the building top to bottom, including the vacant unit above mine. Nothing. No one. The dust on the floor had been disturbed now, multiple footprints all over the place, like someone had been pacing frantically. But there was still no way anyone could have gotten in or out. I never went back. I paid the lease break fee and moved across town. The landlord told me later that 3 more tenants tried to move into my old unit, and all of them left within a month. Same complaints. Footsteps at 2 a.m., always directly above their bed. always just one step. I still don't sleep well. Sometimes, even in my new place, I wake up at 2 a.m. and hold my breath, listening for that footstep. I haven't heard it again, but I know that whoever or whatever was in that apartment above me wasn't there by accident. They knew exactly where I was at all times, and I have no idea what they wanted. I got a dog last year, a rescue named Bailey. She's a sweet golden retriever mix, really friendly, and she needed 2 walks a day minimum. My schedule was pretty packed with work, so I hired a dog walker I found through an app called Rover. His name was Eric, and his profile looked solid 5-star reviews. Background check completed, lots of repeat clients. He seemed perfect. For the first month, everything was great. Eric would come by around 1 p.m. while I was at work, take Bailey for a 30-minute walk, and send me updates with photos through the app. Bailey seemed to like him, and I appreciated the convenience. Then I started noticing small things. Stuff in my apartment would be slightly off when I got home, like the bathroom door would be open when I knew I'd left it closed, or my bedroom closet door would be cracked. Little things I couldn't quite put my finger on, but they nagged at me. I set up a cheap security camera in my living room, one of those basic ones from Amazon. I told myself it was just to check on Bailey during the day, make sure she wasn't tearing up the furniture. But really, I wanted to see what Eric was doing when he was in my apartment. The first few days of footage were normal. Eric would come in, leash Bailey, take her out, bring her back, and leave. But then on the 4th day, I noticed he stayed longer than usual. After he brought Bailey back, he didn't leave right away. Instead, he walked into my bedroom. The camera angle didn't reach that far, but I could see him disappear down the hallway. He was in there for almost 10 minutes before he finally left. I felt sick. I checked my bedroom that night. Nothing seemed stolen or obviously disturbed, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he'd been going through my things. I thought about confronting him or just firing him outright, but I wanted proof first. I needed to know what he was doing. I set up another camera in my bedroom, hidden inside a tissue box on my dresser. The next day, I watched the footage remotely from work on my phone. Eric came in, took Bailey out like normal, brought her back, and then went straight to my bedroom. This time, I could see everything. He opened my closet and started going through my clothes. Not looking for valuables, he was touching them, smelling them, holding them up against himself. Then he opened my dresser drawer, the one where I keep personal stuff, underwear, old photos, journals. He took out a pair of my underwear and put it in his jacket pocket. Then he pulled out his phone and started taking pictures of the inside of my drawers, my closet, my bed. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to call the police right then, but I was frozen, watching this guy violate my privacy in real time through a camera feed. He spent almost 20 minutes in my room before finally leaving. I left work early and drove straight home. I didn't know what to do. Call the cops? Confront him? I was terrified and furious at the same time. When I got home, I immediately changed all my locks and called the dog walking service to report him. They said they'd investigate, but their response felt scripted and useless. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. "You didn't have to fire me. I was just trying to get to know you better." My stomach dropped. He had my phone number. It wasn't on my Rover profile. He must have gone through my phone bills or mail or something while he was in my apartment. I didn't respond. I blocked the number immediately. But the texts kept coming from different numbers. "I miss Bailey. You looked nice today in that blue jacket. I still have your key, you know." That last one made me panic. I'd given him a spare key for the dog walking, and I'd never gotten it back. I called a locksmith that same night and had every lock in my apartment changed again, plus added a deadbolt. I also filed a police report, showed them the camera footage, the texts, everything. They said they'd look into it, but unless he showed up at my apartment or directly threatened me, there wasn't much they could do. For 2 weeks, I didn't hear anything from him. I started to relax, thought maybe he'd moved on. Then I noticed something on my car. It was parked in my building's garage, and on the windshield was a Polaroid photo. It was a picture of me walking Bailey, taken from across the street. On the back, written in blue ink, I never stopped walking her. I looked at the photo closer. It was taken yesterday. I'd been walking Bailey myself since I fired Eric, which meant he'd been following me, watching me, without me ever noticing. I installed a security system in my apartment, started varying my walking routes, and began carrying pepper spray everywhere. I also got a restraining order, though the cop who processed it told me they're just pieces of paper and don't actually stop anyone determined enough. One night around 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was a notification from my apartment security camera, motion detected at my front door. I opened the app, and there he was. Eric, standing in my hallway, right outside my door, just staring at the camera. He wasn't trying to break in or hide his face. He was just standing there, smiling. I called 911, but by the time they arrived, he was gone. No sign of him anywhere in the building. The police checked the parking garage, the stairwells, everything. Nothing. I couldn't stay there anymore. I broke my lease and moved in with my parents an hour away. I deleted all my social media, changed my phone number, and refused to go anywhere alone for months. I still have Bailey, but I walk her myself now, always during daylight, always in busy areas. I never saw Eric again after that night. But sometimes when I'm walking Bailey, I get this overwhelming feeling that someone's watching me. I'll turn around quickly, scan the street, check behind parked cars. I never see anyone, but that doesn't mean they're not there. The worst part is not knowing what he wanted. Was he just a creep stealing underwear, or was it building to something worse? I'll never know, and that uncertainty is almost worse than knowing. My girlfriend Sarah and I had been dating for about 8 months when this happened. We had that feature turned on where we could see each other's locations through Find My iPhone, not because we didn't trust each other, just for safety reasons. If one of us was driving late or traveling or whatever, it was nice to know the other person was okay. One Friday night in October, I was at my buddy's place watching a game. Sarah had gone to visit her sister about 2 hours away and was staying the night there. Around 10 p.m., I got a notification on my phone. Sarah has arrived at home. That was weird. Her home in the app was set to her apartment across town from where I was, but she'd told me she was staying at her sister's place. I figured maybe she'd changed her mind and driven back early. I texted her, "Hey, you back home already? Thought you were staying at your sister's?" No response. I waited 20 minutes, then tried calling, straight to voicemail. Now I was getting concerned. I checked Find My iPhone again. Her location pin was definitely at her apartment. It hadn't moved in over half an hour. I called her sister. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey, is Sarah okay?" I asked. "Yeah, she's right here. Why?" My heart started pounding. "Can you put her on the phone?" There was shuffling, and then Sarah's voice. "Babe, what's wrong?" "Your phone," I said. "Find My iPhone says you're at your apartment right now." She went quiet for a second, then said, "That's impossible. My phone's right here in my hand. I'm at my sister's." She checked her own Find My app. According to her phone, she was exactly where she should be at her sister's place 2 hours away. But on my phone, her location still showed her apartment. We were both looking at the same account, but seeing different locations. That shouldn't be possible. "Someone's in my apartment," Sarah said, her voice tight. "Someone has my phone, or somehow cloned it, or I don't know, but someone's there." I told her to stay at her sister's. Don't come back. I'd go check it out. She wanted to call the police, but I convinced her to let me look first. Maybe it was just a glitch. Maybe her phone had disconnected and was showing a cached location. I was trying to rationalize it, but deep down, I was scared. I drove to her apartment. The whole way there, I kept checking Find My iPhone. Her location pin hadn't moved. It was just sitting there, right in the middle of her living room according to the map. I parked on the street and sat in my car for a minute, trying to decide what to do. Her apartment was on the second floor of a small complex. The lights were off, at least from what I could see from the outside. I had a key to her place. I went up the exterior stairs as quietly as I could and stood outside her door, listening. Nothing. Complete silence. I unlocked the door slowly, pushed it open. Hello? My voice sounded too loud in the darkness. No response. I flipped on the light. The living room looked normal, nothing out of place. No signs of a break-in. I checked the kitchen, the bathroom, her bedroom, all empty. Her laptop was on her desk, her TV remote on the couch where she always left it. Everything seemed untouched. I pulled out my phone and checked Find My iPhone again. Sarah's location was still showing inside the apartment. In fact, according to the app, she was standing about 10 feet away from me in the bedroom. I walked back to her bedroom and looked around more carefully. Nothing. No phone, no person. Just her neatly made bed and closed curtains. Then I heard it. A faint buzzing sound. Vibrating. I followed the sound to her nightstand and opened the drawer. Inside was a phone. An iPhone. But it wasn't Sarah's. She had a newer model with a different color case. This one was older, in a black case I'd never seen before. The screen was on. It was logged in to Find My iPhone with Sarah's Apple ID. Someone had set up a second device on her account. I felt like I was going to be sick. Someone had deliberately added this phone to Sarah's account so they could track her location at all times, and they'd hidden it in her apartment, in her bedroom, where she slept every night. I grabbed the phone and got out of there. I called Sarah from my car and told her what I found. She started crying. Who would do this? How long has that been there? We didn't know. It could have been days, weeks, months. We went to the police the next morning. They took the phone as evidence and checked it for fingerprints. The device had been factory reset except for the Find My setup, so there was no other data on it. No texts, no apps, no photos. Whoever did this had been careful. The serial number traced back to a phone reported stolen 8 months ago, 2 states away. The detective told us this was a known stalking method. Someone gets access to your apartment, maybe they're a maintenance worker, a previous tenant who kept a key, or even someone you know, and they plant a secondary device logged into your iCloud. Then they can track your location without you ever knowing. Sarah moved out of that apartment immediately. We changed all her passwords, enabled 2-factor authentication on everything, and checked her account for any other unknown devices. There were none. Just that one phone, hidden in her nightstand drawer. But here's the thing that still keeps me up at night. Whoever planted that phone had to have been in her apartment recently enough to set it up and hide it. They had access to her bedroom, to her most private space, and we have no idea who it was. Sarah started remembering little things, times when she felt like someone had been in her apartment while she was gone. A window left open that she'd closed. Her laundry hamper moved slightly. Things that seemed insignificant at the time, but now felt sinister. We never found out who did it. The police investigation went nowhere. No fingerprints, no leads, no suspects. The phone itself was a dead end. Sarah got a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend just in case, even though we had no proof it was him. She also changed her locks, installed cameras, and started parking in a different spot every night. It's been 4 months since we found that phone. Sarah still doesn't feel safe. She checks her devices obsessively, looking for anything out of place. She's convinced someone is still watching her, even though we've found no evidence of it. And sometimes, late at night, I wonder if we actually found all the devices. What if there's another phone, another tracking method we don't know about? What if whoever did this is still out there, watching, waiting? The police told us that cases like this rarely get solved unless the stalker makes a mistake or escalates. So we're just waiting for something else to happen. Waiting to find out who was watching Sarah all this time and what they wanted from her. I don't think I'll ever feel completely safe again, and neither will she.